Hello and welcome to FDW's monthly webinar series. I am Reed Moles, audio specialist here at FDW. Today we're going to be discussing wireless intercom solutions with Pliant Technologies. Before we begin, let's jump into a few housekeeping items. We will be taking questions today. We'll be answering all questions at the end of the webinar, but feel free to type them in at any time. There will be a recording of the presentation that will be available for future viewing, or if you have to step away early. Additionally, there will be a survey at the end of the webinar. Please take this and let us know what we can do to improve. We're always looking to make this better for you guys. Now let's meet the presenter. So today presenting is Art Gonzalez from Pliant Technologies. Art has been in the industry for quite a while now. He has worked with Sony for a long time and is now proud to be with Pliant Technologies. Art, what's the most interesting thing on this laundry list of accolades here?
Probably the most interesting time was all the time that I spent at Sony. I was there for quite some time. I was actually there for 26 years and did everything from product management, introducing new products, all the way up to at the final, towards the end of my career there, I was basically a national sales manager for the Pro Audio group there. So I've been around for a while.
Awesome. And how would you like it at Pliant?
Pliant's been great. It's a nice small company. It's just like a family, basically. And it's been a great transition going from companies like Sony, which is fairly large, as you can imagine, to a nice small company with a more of a family environment. It's actually been really great. I've been there since 2014, and going on actually just over 5-year mark. So everything's been going great. Been real busy. Things are going really well. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. Let's jump into the presentation today.
Great. Let's talk about some wireless intercom. Actually, I'm going to start out. Everybody's heard the name Pliant Technologies so far, but let's talk a little bit about who Pliant is. You may not know who Pliant Technologies is, so I'll give you a little bit of a background, and then I think you'll be able to see kind of the story of where we came from. So it's good to kind of get a little bit of a background. We're basically the professional intercom division of a company called CoachCom, based in Auburn, Alabama. You may know CoachCom. They've been around for, well, I should say we've been around for over 27 years, providing coaching communication solutions. Very big in the NCAA Division I market. As a matter of fact, we have a 97% market share, so probably your favorite college team. If you look on the sideline, you'll see one of our headsets on the sideline. It may have an advertisement on it, but that is our headset. And we continue to provide very innovative solutions for coaching communication that include sideline communications as well as some practice tools and things like that. So CoachCom is doing very well on the sports side. So in about 2012, CoachCom expanded outside of the sports market and introduced a product to the professional industry called Tempest, which you may be familiar with Tempest. Tempest originally had the ClearCom name on it because they were our exclusive distributor for the product. But then at NAB in 2016, we announced the introduction of the professional intercom division of CoachCom, which is Pliant Technologies. So that was really where our coming out was there at the NAB convention in 2016. So what's next? So let's see what's next from Pliant Technologies. So what we're going to focus on specifically here for this presentation is a whole new product line called MicroCom. And MicroCom is our budget level product, and we're going to go into some of the details here. But typically, wireless intercom is something that a lot of people don't realize they need it until the get to the point where they've already bought all their microphones, their mixers, everything like that, and then they come to find out, hey, I need some way to communicate with everybody for my production. So let's talk about MicroCom and what it has to offer. So MicroCom is wireless intercom for every budget. We actually have 2 series currently available. Is the M series. Specifically, we'll be talking about the PMC 900M. That product is shipping. And then you'll see the price point there, list price of about $379, and that's just for the pack, by the way. We'll talk more specifics as we go along. And then we've been showing at our most recent shows the XR series, the PMC 900 XR, and this product will be available at the beginning of 2020. We're excited about this product as well, and we'll give you some preliminary information on that so you can see how that fits into the lineup. So let's talk about specifically about the M series. The 900M is a single channel pack. It's economical, as you saw by the list price. It's simple pack-to-pack operation. There's no need for a base station or anything like that. So everything is all pack-to-pack, very easy to set up. You can have up to 5 full duplex users, meaning everybody can talk and listen at the same time, those 5 users. Or you can, in addition to that, you can have an unlimited number of listen-only users. So if you've got somebody who's just taking cues, you can set them up as a listen-only user, and that frees up, for somebody to use a full duplex channel. One of the unique things that we're doing is we're operating in the 900 megahertz ISM band. That means it's an unlicensed band, so 900 megahertz. The propagation of 900 meg is great. We get good distances out of 900 megahertz, and the other great thing about it is there's really not a whole lot going on in 900 megahertz. And we uniquely offer the 900 megahertz solution, and that's true for the M series as well as the XR, which you'll see. We're also using something called FHSS, and I'm going to actually go through just a brief presentation to explain what the difference between FHSS is and fixed, but that's short for frequency hopping spread spectrum. The nice thing about FHSS is it is encrypted. This is a digital system, so you don't have to worry about somebody tapping into your system and listening or talking on your system. There's a latching talk button for hands-free operation. We've designed this product to have very high dynamic range, so that gives you clear conversations even in very loud environments. The product itself has very low latency, less than 35 milliseconds. It's very small, very lightweight. You can see here on the screen, kind of get an idea of the size. Unfortunately, there's no perspective, but you can see from the dimensions, it's only about just under 4 inches high and just under 2 inches wide. So a very small pack. So very lightweight, easy to wear. It's also weather resistant. You'll see it does come with a holster that the pack actually goes into, but the pack itself is weather resistant. You'll see that the sides and all the plugs and everything are plugged so you don't get water into the actual connections. A nice long 10-hour battery life, which is usually more than enough for most productions. The other nice thing is the pack itself can operate while charging, and you'll see as we talk a little bit more about how the product operates, the reason for that, the nice thing to be able to have that operate while it's charging. The product itself, actually all of our MicroCom products come with a 2-year warranty with registration. And as I mentioned, it includes a couple of accessories. There's a holster that comes with it, is what you see there on the left. And then a neck strap. If you don't have a way to clip it on your belt, you can wear it around your neck or strap it to your wrist or whatever. And then a charging cable comes with it as well. And it's just a micro USB charging cable that comes with it. So looking at the pack itself, you'll see there's a few things going on here. Of course, the antenna you need, the nice screen, the volume buttons are over on the left. Very simple operation, by the way. There's indicators for the fact that the system's up and running and logged in, battery status, so it lets you know if your battery's running low. You'll see that also on the LCD screen. There are menu settings. We're not going to go detailed into all the menus, but you can set things like side tone, receiving mode, meaning whether it's full duplex or listen only, which we mentioned. You can adjust the mic gain, and you can also adjust the output level as well. So the setup on a MicroCom system is actually very easy. This just kind of steps through how you set up a system. It's not intended to really be of an instructional slide on how to do it, but it's just to kind of give you an idea of how easy it is to set up. Essentially, you plug in a headset, turn it on, and you select a group is the first thing you do. Now, what the group does is it basically puts all the users that you want on one group on that same group number. The reason being is because you can have up to 4 separate groups. Now, they can't talk to each other. The groups can't talk amongst themselves, but the groups, I'm sorry, they can't talk from one system to another system, but they can talk amongst themselves. So for instance, if you had a camera crew, an audio crew, a lighting crew, and they were all separate from each other, you can operate them in the same RF environment. So that's why we have the groups. So that really basically coordinates multiple groups in the same RF space. The other thing you have to do is really just set up an ID number. One of the packs has to be a master. The reason for that is the master belt actually sends out a sync signal to all the other belts. In other words, it's sending out a sync for all the frequency hopping, which we'll talk about, so that everything is synced together. So that one master really should probably be in a central location if possible. And that's why we mentioned earlier that it does operate on power as well. It doesn't need to be operated on battery. So you could technically put one belt in a fixed location to make sure that that sync is always there, but you don't have to. And you can have all those packs, basically 0 through 04. And those are the full duplex packs, and anything set on 5 and above are your listen only packs. So in addition to the actual M system or the MicroCom M system as well, or the packs, by the way, there are different types of packs. It's all the same pack. So they only have the PMC 900M pack. That's the only model for that pack. And that's the nice thing. Other nice thing about a pack-to-pack solution is that you don't have to have different SKUs for different applications. It's the same SKU for full duplex and listen only. But in addition to that, we do have a couple of accessories. There's a hard travel case, an IP67 rated case, which is really nice for putting an entire system in. We haven't talked about headsets yet, but that will also hold 5 belts as well as headsets, charger, etc. We will talk about headsets in just a second. Then there's also what we call a soft case, and it's got molds in it for actually putting up to 5 packs and all of its accessories. And then there's a USB charger that allows you to charge up to 5 packs in 2.5 hours. And it's just a standard USB charger. So you can, if you don't need this particular USB charger, you can use any standard USB charger. So let's talk a little bit about the XR, and we'll see some of the differences between. And just a reminder, the M series is available now. The XR series is coming at the beginning of 2020. One of the differences is the XR series is a dual channel system, so there actually will be 2 channels available instead of a single channel. It's also a pack-to-pack operation, so you don't need a base station. One of the other differences is you will see that you can have up to 10 full duplex users as opposed to 5 full duplex users. So if you have customers that need more number of full duplex users, this is definitely the way to go. And once again, unlimited listen-only users, just like the M series. And again, using the 900 megahertz band, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a pretty well unused band. So it's really good to go into that band. And then again, encrypted FHSS, and we'll talk more about that. One of the differences is it is an IP67 rated housing, so there is no holster for this product. It has a belt clip built into it, and the actual housing itself is IP67 rated, so it'll do very well in harsh environments, especially where water is involved. Has a nice OLED display. And the battery is field replaceable. In the M series, the battery is not field replaceable. That's built into the actual system itself. You'd have to send it in if you need to have the battery replaced. We've extended the battery life on the XR series to up to 15 hours of battery life. And there will also be an available drop-in charger so that when you're done with your production, you just simply drop the pack into a charger and it will charge in the pack. I'm not going to go through this whole chart, but it's just a quick overview of the difference between M and XR, and I've pointed out most of them. As I mentioned, the battery type is lithium ion, and for the XR, it's field replaceable, and you have the built-in charger, OLED display, and so on. And then the price point of the MicroCom XR hasn't been determined, finalized yet, but it's going to be in the $750 to $800 list price range without a headset. So let's just real quickly, I want to explain the difference between fixed frequency and FHSS. The MicroCom series, as I mentioned earlier, uses frequency hopping spread spectrum, FHSS, but I think there's a lot of people out there that may not understand what that is and what are the advantages of FHSS. You're probably familiar with fixed frequency. Most of your wireless microphones or your analog intercom systems are fixed frequency. Meaning that basically they transmit or receive or transmit and receive on one frequency for each user. So let's use a wireless mic as an example. Of course, it's just one direction, it's not both directions, but you typically have one single frequency. And then if you want to add more users, you have to basically add those users on their own frequency, but you also have to coordinate them. It's not, most of the systems now allow you to they automatically help you select frequencies so that you get all the intermod. You don't have to do all the calculations for intermod and everything, and you get all the spacings very easily. However, you still do have to coordinate frequencies, and they are fixed frequencies. So in the case of a analog wireless intercom, you'd have to have a send frequency and a receive frequency. So you're taking up a lot of spectrum at that point as well. And it does take coordination. So what's the difference with frequency hopping? The advantage of a frequency hopping system, it allows multiple systems with multiple users to operate in the same amount of spectrum. It's a more efficient way to do two-way full duplex communications. Basically, the entire system, all the packs change frequency 100 times a second. So every 10 milliseconds, they're changing frequency. And I'll spell this out in here in just a minute. This helps minimize the effect of external interference and multipath dropouts as well. And also it helps a lot in even in highly reflective environments. The other great thing is there's no need for frequency coordination within that band. You essentially, if you go into an environment where there's a lot of RF, everybody just needs to know if there's a frequency coordinator there by any chance. You would just have to let them know that you're operating in 902 to 928, and that's it. You don't have to set up specific frequencies. So with FHSS, you do have little, basically slivers of RF, but it's all happening very, very fast. So unlike a fixed frequency, this frequency is not going to stay where it is. So it'll basically pop up, and then 10 milliseconds later, send some data, and 10 milliseconds later, send some data, and then so on and so forth. And it basically jumps around the entire spectrum. Now, the advantages to that is, let's say there's some interference that comes in a specific part of that band, you still have all the rest of the band to basically recover all of that data. And of course, there's other things like redundancy and things like that as part of the way the system works. And then keep in mind that this is digital as well, so there are ways to do error correction and so forth. So basically, though, keep in mind it makes it easy to operate, and it makes it easy for a bunch of people to be able to talk in one location. So that's the advantage of frequency hopping spread spectrum. So let's talk a little bit about the headsets. We mentioned the 900XR and the 900M. As I mentioned earlier, those are just the packs. So when you saw the pricing for that, that was just for the packs themselves. One of the things that we've done that we think sets us apart from other manufacturers is we design our own headsets, and we have our own headsets that are designed specifically for MicroCom. I'm going to cover, you see a bunch of them here, but I'm going to cover kind of the range of headsets so you can get an idea. Obviously, you can be thinking in your head of different applications for different headsets, but let's go ahead and start talking about them. The first one is called the Smartboom series. The Smartboom series is actually a carryover from not only from our sports side, but also from our CrewCom system, which is our premier intercom system, wireless intercom system. And you'll see here the three different models. We have a single lightweight, a single full size, and a dual full size. And one thing you'll notice, if you can see the connector there, is it does have, and I don't think I mentioned, but both the XR and the M have a dual mini connector. So that allows you to basically plug in to the side of the pack and get a nice good connection with those dual mini connectors. And you can see the pricing there, but these are fully professional headsets that are designed specifically for MicroCom. The reason we call them Smartboom, as you see on the left there, is what happens is when you flip up the microphone, it actually mutes the microphone when it gets beyond a certain point. So the nice thing about this is you don't leave the mic open all the time. So when you're finished talking, you can just flip up your mic, or you need to have a private conversation or something, you flip up your mic, you can be assured that that's not going to go out over the wireless intercom system. So Smartboom is actually a really cool feature. We also have a couple of specialty headsets, and the first of those is on the far left, is in the in-ear headset. So they come in two different flavors, very small, kind of a microphone on it, and an in-ear. And this one comes in two different, actually both of these headsets, specialty headsets, come in two different flavors. One with a push to talk, which is the one that says IEL PTT-M. That just means push to talk, and then M means a mini connector. So basically, it's a lightweight headset, good for applications where you want it to be unobtrusive. Let's say you're doing wedding videography, and of course, you don't want to be wearing a big headset because you're wearing a suit. You know, you're running around. You want to look nice and sleek. you can use the in-ear headset, and it's a great way to go. Very small, very unobtrusive. And then on the right, we have the lav with a typical earpiece or ear tube. Um, and that also comes in two flavors, one without a push-to-talk button and one with a push-to-talk button. So we got a full range of headsets options to choose from. So what are some of the applications for the MicroCom system? This is just coming from feedback we've heard at shows and some of the shipments that we've already made so far. We've only been shipping for about 2 or 3 weeks now, but we've had a lot of interest from theaters, especially smaller theaters, community theaters, universities, things like that, because most of the time they're on a budget. And a lot of times they're not using a bunch of users, but they do need some kind of intercom system. And this is a great way for them to get started. Houses of worship, as everybody knows here, houses of worships, are productions that include cameras and audio and lighting and everything. So this is a great entry-level product for a house of worship. Videographers, photographers, as I mentioned, like wedding videographers or even just still photographers, if you have a multiple person crew, it's a great way to communicate. The cool thing is it's hands-free, and that's really the nice thing about it. Event production, whether it's in like a hotel ballroom or something like that, and you're putting together a corporate event, it's great for that. Education and education environments, university, high school, good for that. And then of course live music production, smaller productions where you might be doing outdoor festivals or even smaller arenas and things like that. So lots of applications for the MicroCom system. So why MicroCom? Some of the things that make it unique, it's very simple to use. It's a great alternative to other quote comms. We've heard stories about people not only using two-way radios, which is probably pretty common, but some unique ones is people actually texting for getting cues. I can't even imagine that, but anyhow, and also using just a cell phone or something like that. Really, this is a much better way to go, and plus it's hands-free. You don't have to worry about keying up a two-way radio. Again, I'll point out, because this is pretty important, that we do operate in the 900 megahertz band. It's out of the way of most of the wireless mics on the market, relatively clear spectrum, and there's no need for frequency coordination. The other thing is our MicroCom system is designed specifically for intercom. It's not a tour guide system that's been adapted for some kind of intercom. It's actually designed specifically for intercom. The other great thing is we do offer a full selection of different headsets for different applications. So it's a full line that you can take advantage of. And overall, it's an excellent value for the price and for everything that it can do. It's definitely an excellent value. So what, in terms of Pliant Technologies as a company, what is it that sets us apart? First of all, we're a wireless intercom company. We have been for the last 27 years. And systems are designed specifically for production environments. So you can rest assured that we've been around for a while and we know what we're doing. A lot of companies don't do this, but every system that before it leaves our building is actually walk tested. And we do have a test range in Auburn, Alabama, and every system gets walked before it's sent out. We do offer out of the box, you get a 1-year warranty, but if you register your product, you get an additional year of warranty. So it's a total of 2-year warranty if your product is registered. We do offer excellent support from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. And then we also have a live chat from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time. And even sometimes I'm one of the guys that actually gets in on the chat. So you may end up chatting with me. And beyond that, we did win an award at the InfoCom 2019. So obviously, the people who went to InfoCom and the magazines that were there, specifically Pro Sound News, thought that it was a really cool product and worthy of best of show. So that's MicroCom. So what I'm going to do is I'll hand it back to Reed, and we'll see if we have any questions. And Reed, you got anything over there?
Thanks. That was a great presentation. Looks like we don't have too many questions at this time. Was a very thorough presentation. We do have one question about the overall range in terms of distances. What can you speak to about the physical distance that they would expect in a normal environment?
Yeah, very good question, very common question. As you probably know, in any RF product, it's very environmentally specific. Although I can talk on my own personal experience that typically, and specifically with 900 meg, we get great coverage. And on average, I would say, distance from pack to pack is probably 100 to 150 feet apart. Of course, it all depends on the environment. It depends on if you're, line of sight, and that's, specifically what I'm talking about. So, obviously, if you go between metal walls, it won't perform, to that degree. But in general, around, I would say around 150 feet, but could be more than that, could be a little bit less than that, depending on the environment.
Awesome. And does that rely on the master pack?
Yeah, that has a part to it. That's one thing to consider. Obviously, if your master pack goes out of range, then basically, the system loses its sync at that point. So it's very important to make sure that and that's why typically with systems like this, everybody's kind of in the same RF environment. We like to say. But you do have the option also of you can actually change. So if you do know that that person's going to be going out of range, you can actually make another pack a master. You just go into the menu and switch that person over to be the master.
Perfect. One other question we had here was about the headsets. Is it possible to use existing headsets if they have something else that they like? Any adapters or anything available?
Yeah, unfortunately not. What we've found with our testing is specifically a electret condenser mic works best. So we do highly recommend that you use our headsets. Not to say that it wouldn't work, but we haven't tested any other non-Pliant headsets, so that we definitely specifically recommend you use our headsets.
Looks like that is all the questions we have right now. If you do have more questions, please feel free to write in. We can try to reach out to you after the presentation and get you those answers. FTW, also feel free to call in to the FTW lines. We can answer your questions as well. I want to thank Art here for joining us today. He is actually live in the studio for the first time. He did a really great job. Once again, if you do have questions, please reach out to FTW. We can get a hold of Art through FTW, and we have some talented sales reps on the phone as well. That concludes today's webinar. Thank you guys for joining us.